Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday night on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the Full Send Racing Series. We've got to cover this series all season long, but tonight, the last race. Who's getting the championship? We got four drivers all hunting for the crown. We got that of Cole Sacchetti, Cameron Sarton, Chris Stitz, Ross Tatum, set, prepared, qualifying is out of the way, and we're about to get these drivers rolling, and we're excited to give you the coverage again here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is going to be Trevor Earhart, and Trevor, this is the last race of the year for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as well as the last race of the season for these drivers. And we're here at where you're going to be gambling the most, Las Vegas.
Yeah, bittersweet to be the last race of the year for us, last race of the season for these guys. It's been such a great season for Full Send Racing. I mean, these guys have put on a show week in and week out. Four drivers left, like you said, here at Vegas. Good racetrack to hold a championship at, Sam, and I cannot wait for this race to get started.
Well, the drivers are gritting up. They are set and prepared, and let's see where they're going to be starting here tonight. As the drivers, their last qualifying attempts, it was going to be seen a little bit of a shocker. Got to see the preview on our ticker board, but it's going to be the 6 of Travis Dart stealing away the pole for himself, and what an incredible statement there, gotta say. Seeing the 6, taking the pole away from one of our contenders. Ross Tatum gonna be first of our final 4 in second place. Brian Burchett gonna be moving up to third. Then that's when we find some of the other competitors. Cameron Sarton, second position of our championship 4. Third position gonna be starting in 5th, gonna be that of Chris Stitz. Will Bustler in 6th. It's 7th place though, where we see that gonna be of Cole Sacchetti. Sacchetti has been incredible this season. We'll see if we can carry that on. Ken Gamble going to be in 8th place. 9th is going to be that of Aaron Hale. And finishing out our top 10, it's that of Joshua Altus.
Ryan Lynch is going to roll off 11th with Daniel Keith Jr. in 12th. Lucas Lyons in 13th. Nick Holland 14th. Rob Sherwood down in 15th position. Philip Chavez in 16th. And Doug Pierce will round out the 17th position.
As the drivers are getting themselves rolling here tonight. Going to be 130 laps here at Las Vegas. We're going to have our stage break at lap 40. Now, there's going to be no points. They're going to be given out here tonight for the final 4. But there is a little bit of a points battle that is going to be carrying forward. That's the non-playoff drivers. Zach Hall was leading that trumpet of those crew. Well, he didn't show up here tonight. Travis Dart, our pole sitter, he needs a spectacular run, get 34 points, and he's going to be taking that of the non-playoff championship. But the final 4, they're set, they're prepared. Hopefully you're ready. The pace car is off, and it's time to go green for the Full Send Racing Championship, presented by that of Berserker Industries. We're green, heading down into turn number 1.
And Travis Dart with a great jump there from the pole position is going to take that lead spot easily, but the battle's going to be for second. Ross Tatum, Brian Burchett down into turn number 1. Burchett gets that position from the 11, and that's going to allow Chris Stitz to get to the inside. This is going to be the battle for what is the championship right now. Stitz up to second, up to third, looking for second, but gets blocked there by the 33. He's going to have to stay side by side with Ross Tatum down into turn 3.
Las Vegas, a lot of pack racing we're going to be seeing early on, and it's Brian Burchett going to be moving up from third to the lead, and he'll hope to lead this lap as the 33 down on the apron. He'll take the first lap for himself, side by side for the lead. But for our championship 4, they're in line, third all the way back to 6th place, and it's going to be that of Chris Stitz trying to put a buffer between his competition.
Stitz up to second. Last time we saw Stitz got the win, but now here tonight up to second place. Took last week off, maybe getting a little bit more practice for this race. Moves himself up to second past that of Travis Dart. Then it's going to be Ross Tatum, Cameron Sarton, but the battle back there, Sacchetti battling with the 4 of Aaron Hale. Got to be careful, a little tight there off of turn number 4. You don't want to get into that outside wall and get damage early on.
Do not want that at all, and drivers were notified at the start before they started rolling off for the formation lap. It was stay calm. Do not try to damage the championship 4. Let them race this thing out. It's between them on who they want this championship to be between, as it's going to be seeing that of Cameron Sarton trying to move past that of Ross Tatum. But this 42, Cole Sacchetti, this is odd to see, especially on how well he was running these last couple of weeks. Here at the 1.5 miles, he obviously is going with the extreme tire saving mode.
And kind of taking the Ross Tatum approach, going to drop back, save some tire. and see what he can do later on in this run, getting passed now by the 36 of Will Bustler as the 42 continues to fall back, starting 7th all the way back down to now what would be 10th position. Once Will Bustler gets by him at a big moment right there.
That's going to be Ryan Lynch in the 3 machine coming up. Saw the puff of smoke and the slamming into the outside wall. Going to be for the Cookout machine. The 3 able to continue to race on. That's the big thing that these car drivers are hoping not to have. That's aero damage at this track where we're seeing the pack racing in the early going, but a little bit of shuffling going on. That Daniel Keith Jr. almost brushing the outside wall in the entry.
And Daniel Keith Jr. almost getting into the wall, and it's so easy to do here. You carry so much speed out of turn number 2, but that outside wall comes at you quick here, and aero damage at this track is pretty much the kiss of death of how important it's going to be. But up front, Lucas Lyons, the man on the move, using that outside line, was able to drive around Cameron Sarton, Ross Tatum, and then went to the inside of Travis Dart. So Lucas Lyons up to 10th, or up to 3rd, up 10 spots from where he started in this race.
Biggest mover so far is going to be that of the 25 up to 3rd, and Lucas Lyons, he's shown that he can be quick in the early going. It's the long run where we start to see those troublesome spots, and I think that's why we're starting to see drivers willing to back off, recognizing, hey, we're in the desert, we're at Las Vegas. Yes, the sun is starting to set, but the track is still going to be something you worry about. Don't want to burn up those tires too bad. So we're seeing some drivers showing off some new schemes. There's the 2 of Rob Sherwood, and that 2 machine thought he was going to be part of the final 4 contenders at one moment. Well, now not so much. Daniel Keith Jr. gets aggressive, has to back out, and almost causing a big one back here.
And Keith Jr. almost got run into by the back, by that of the 39 of Doug Pierce, as he had to check up there to not get into the side of the 2 of Rob Sherwood there. But coming back at him here, and turn number 4 at 23, looking to the inside, gets a pretty good run there off of turn number 4, and should be able to clear Sherwood here going into turn number 1.
I mean, we're seeing that 23 machine being so aggressive on the entry. I mean, Trevor, what are your thoughts on seeing someone be that aggressive on the entry of these corners?
I mean, it's going to be good for you in the short run. I think you're going to see it with that of the 23 of Keith Jr., the 25 of Lucas Lyons. You're going to be quick on the short run compared to everybody else. But when it comes to the long run, that car is just going to get really tight on you. And that outside wall is just going to get ever so closer on corner exit as that car starts to push off the corner. That's something they're going to have to watch out for, especially with how aggressive they're being this early on.
Orange and blue, Auburn colors of Ken Campbell now going to be up to 7th place, up only 1 position, but in his mirror, that's going to be Cole Sacchetti trying to close in, and we've seen these drivers battle aggressively between one another throughout the playoffs. Saw Ken Campbell try to get a little bit of payback last week at Richmond, but this 15, now the curious thought, how aggressive does he want to be defensive to that of Cole Sacchetti? I mean, Trevor, you come into playoffs, drivers don't have short memory. They linger on how you drove around them all season long. And here we go, the first battle between the 15 and the 42 tonight.
And it looks like Campbell's just going to let the 42 go. Might look for a little bit of a crossover, but just going to hold back in line behind Sacchetti. And for Ken Campbell, I mean, we talked to him at Homestead, said he was going to go out there and run as hard as he can. Was kind of fed up with the way he'd been raced, but right here just realizing that, hey, Scattie's racing for a championship. Yeah, I want to race hard. I want to race clean, but now's not the time to be doing that. Let him go try to chase down these guys that he's running for a championship for, and just lets the 42 go by.
We talked about, you even threw it out there. Cole Sacchetti kind of doing a Ross Tatum, now catching up to the 11 of Ross Tatum. Tatum trying to be aggressive in the early going, now starting to fall back. Seems like it's a little bit of a delayed save by the 11, as Cole Sacchetti says, I saved up for those first 10 laps. It's time for myself to start going forward.
I'd be interested to see what's going to happen with Ross here in these next, 5, 6 laps, 10 laps when we get to lap 21 or so. Usually he's the man that we see doing the tire save, the aggressive tire save. But this time around, the 42, Sacchetti maybe learning and taking a page out of that in the 11's book. But for Ross Tatum right now, just looks like he's struggling a little bit compared to the 22 of Stitz and the 24 of Cameron Sarton. This is Sacchetti looking to the outside and see if he can get that run off of turn number 2. We're going to tuck right back in line down the backstretch.
Lucas Lyons showed that outside lane can work in the first 5 to 6 laps of a race, but the inside lane is where the 42 goes. Turn 3, make the pass, put that of the 42 up to 6th place. He was here, and that's around the positioning when that Cole Sacchetti decided to back off that of 8 laps ago. Well, he's on the move, and right now, looking at the times of these drivers, the second fastest driver on track is the 42 machine. The fastest driver on track currently is Travis Dart in 4th place for the 6th, and our pole sitter award winner, as That Ross Tatum sits in line, 13 laps in of 130, but we have a stage break at lap 40 for these drivers. Gonna be a little bit of a reset moment, and I was talking to Ross Tatum, trying to get his thoughts on how tonight was gonna run. He said he was gonna do his normal strategy of backing off, saving his tires, then be aggressive, and he wanted to see at the stage break how those tires were gonna look, then try to calculate how he wants to run the rest of this race. And Trevor, I mean, it feels like that's how every driver wants to think. First stage, a lot of just testing and trialing.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens a lot when you get into these stage races with these guys. It's, okay, use those first 40 laps, do what you think is going to work for you in the race, see what it looks like when you come down pit road, take those tires off, and then adjust from there. Okay, do I need to back off more? Can I be a little bit more aggressive? And I think right now for Ross, that's exactly what he's trying to do. Okay, I'm going to save a little bit, see what it looks like, then we'll go from there and see how aggressive we can be for the rest of the race.
Drivers right now, all technically, if you look at the distance between everyone's technically still in the draft, with the driver in front of them from that of first place back to 17th. But the gap, 4.8 seconds is the difference from first back to last place of Doug Pierce, with that of the championship 4 being led by Chris Stitz in second place. But this is where we're seeing the earliest of battles up front. Going to be that of Cole Sketty, Ross Tatum. Tatum fighting back to the 42's bumper as they're closing in on the 24. Cameron Sarton, the two-time champ of this series, trying to go 3 for 3 and be the only champion of the full send series.
And Sarton last week was just untouchable at Richmond. Led every lap, but I believe 2 laps in that race, maybe just 1 lap last week at Richmond. So comes into tonight with a lot of momentum. It just looks like he's just doing what he did at Richmond, just riding around, being comfortable right now, pulling his car out. And just pretty much on cruise control for probably this first stage. But he's got to be careful because right now the 42 of Sacchetti, the 11 of Ross Tatum closing in on the 24 machine, and this could be a battle in the next lap or so.
And I feel like the 3 drivers here in this group, that of Cameron Sarton, Cole Sacchetti, Ross Tatum, this has been their MO of staying around one another and being consistently up front near the top 5 every single week. But it's their other championship contender, Chris Stitz, who has been probably the biggest swing driver of all of our Final 4. He's shown great speed, but the inconsistency is the reason why a lot of people weren't sure if he was going to make the Final 4, even though he had the same amount of speed, if not faster, than his other competitors.
Yeah, I mean, like you touched on, Stitz has shown flashes of speed all season long. He's just not been able to save the tires or put the runs together for himself. Did a really great job at Homestead getting that win, was able to put it all together there finally for himself. And here tonight, I mean, drove up to second, has been holding on up there fairly well, and has actually caught that of the 33 of Brian Burchett. And so Stitz here in the next lap or two could have himself a potential to get up there, past the 33 and get in clean air and maybe drive away from these guys a little bit more.
Battle for the lead about to be opening up as that of the 6 and the 25 of Lucas Lyons. It's battle for third place that's happening currently in the 25. Talked about Lucas Lyons, biggest mover of the night, up 10 positions. Will make it 9 as those tires starting to fall off the outside lane, not as strong as it once was for the 25. And he's screaming for some tires. 20 laps into the run as we are halfway through our first stage of this race. Stage break, gonna be at the end of lap 40, and the top 10 drivers hoping for some bonus points. And the one driver that's really looking for as many points as possible, that is the 6 machine of Travis Darden. Travis is obviously hoping for some good points because he's trying to get over that of 34 points in total so that he could pass Zach Hall, who did not show up here tonight. And those are some points to be grabbed as the 6 machine sees behind him the battling going on for 4th. Lyons, so that is Sarton, battling on, but for the lead, it's Brian Burchett, Chris Stitz. Stitz trying to make the inside lane work for himself for the lead position.
Yeah, Stitz has been trying this for the last 2 laps or so, just hasn't been able to get the drive off the corner. Is Burchett been able to get a little bit better of a run on that top side, just kind of showing you how difficult it can be to pass, but then also different grooves you can take here at Las Vegas, able to get that top line to work for him on corner exit. Oh, it's a big moment from Lucas Lyons, gets loose in front of the 24 of Sarton, saves it. Not sure if any contact was made, but Lyons loose off at turn 4 and almost gets into the back of Sacchetti going into 1. About chaos for 2 of our playoff drivers back there in 4th.
2 to 3 of our playoff contenders all involved with that. And just want to give the audience a little bit of awareness. If you were here last week, iRacing was having some updates with their graphical and lighting systems. Well, they're still freaking out here tonight. Wasn't in the quick patch that came out. Maybe it will be in the future when we go into the new year. But tonight, just hoping once the lights are fully down, that these little blips in blinking action will go away.
Yeah, hopefully that gets resolved in the next patch or two, but almost, Sam, almost a moment for 3 of our 4 playoff drivers. I mean, that could have been catastrophic for those guys as Lions got loose off of 4, almost got into the back of Sarton as he was gathering up, almost got into the rear of that of Sicchetti as well, and Ross Tatum being right there, that could have been major for those 3 drivers.
I mean, it's one of those things where you're a championship driver, you're set on the mindset of these are the drivers I'm looking for, these are the ones I'm driving with. But if you're a non-playoff driver, your only goal is winning the race. And sometimes you can get a little bit too much into the zone of I'm trying to stay up front, win a battle, want to stay up where I'm at. And you can drive over your head, and that looked to be the case for the 25. Luckily, he's still got his pace and momentum as this pack of 4, pack of 5 technically you could call it, closing in on our leaders as Chris Stitt still not able to get by that of Brian Burchett. But with the battling and getting to the quarter panel, the 22 is slowing down these front group to where this pack we're watching on screen, they're now within a half a second of our leaders.
Yeah, these 2 up front battling each other has really slowed them down. It's brought Travis Dart back into the picture. Cameron Sarton, Sicchetti, and Tatum. Sarton's going to look to the inside. Now Travis Dart in turn number 3, try to get himself up into that 3rd position. Looks like he's going to have Dart cleared here out of turn number 4. Right behind them, Tatum looking to the inside of Sicchetti, not able to quite get that done. But as I say that, Travis Dart's going to go for the crossover move here on Ross Tatum. Not going to give up that on Sarton, not going to give that 3rd position up that easily, that 6 machine.
Yeah, the 6 again wants as many points as possible. Doesn't want to have his fate sealed for that of the non-playoff drivers championship. And because of the aggressive racing, the 42 brushing the outside wall for himself.
And that could be big right there. Damage so sensitive on these cars, especially the aero damage. And here at Vegas, that aero damage is going to hurt. Not sure how much damage the 42 might have from that little brush of the wall. We'll have to wait and find out and see how much that's going to affect the 42 of Sicchetti.
Seeing these drivers be able to take a beating here or there. As the 6 just trying to hold for himself, but the 42 of that of Cole Sicchetti obviously was a driver that saved his tires, tried to have the best tires for the long run. Now going to be up to 4th place, and I gotta say that little bit of a brush. We'll have to continue to monitor it and see if he has to spend some extra time in pit road at our stage break as we're closing in 13 laps to go before our stage break, where drivers are going to be learning how they want to race the end of this one. The championship race you are watching for the Full Send Racing Series, presented by that of Berserker Industries, as drivers falling back, and that's Lucas Lyons bringing out the yellow, and there are more drivers collected in. Massive damage now. Going to be Daniel Keith Jr. with the late 8 of that of an ARCA brake incident in Alliance.
Lions, it looks like the 94 of Altis involved, and man, just more bad luck for Joshua Altis there. And I mean, since the start of the playoffs, he has just had some of the worst luck in the league over the last couple of weeks, and caught up here again in another wreck.
As we take a freaky fast broadcasting instant replay, first replay of the night, first caution of the night. And it's going to be Ken Campbell, that of Aaron Hale. Just no space given to one another. It was a stacked, you could say, staircase 3 wide going on there. Lyons gets bumped, gets bounced with another tail slapper at the end, and that's what sends him up into the crowd. But Trevor, this is when things go from bad to worse.
Yeah, bounces off the wall, slides back down the track, just nowhere for the 68 of Holland to go. Joshua Altis with just nowhere to go, trying to get that 94 machine blowed down, gets caught up in it, and then Daniel Keith Jr. just looks like he's driving through the smoke, can't quite see where the 25 of Lions is, tries to lock it up at the last second, and just slides right into the nose there of the 25.
And for Daniel Keith Jr., he could have made it through there. I think he just was carrying way too much speed, did not slow down fast enough, and in a blink of an eye, multiple drivers going to be sitting in pit road with required damage. Going to be 4 in total. Joshua Altis, Lucas Lyons, Daniel Keith Jr., and Nick Holland. All 4 drivers going to be sitting in pit road. And very quickly, Trevor, we go from a quick, 17 drivers in the field, now down to just that 13 as you see the lockup from the 23 I mean, Trevor, when you see an incident in front of you, I mean, that usually isn't how you want to react to it.
No, typically slow down a little bit sooner than that. Not sure if Daniel there maybe thought that 25 was going to continue to slide down and he could just carry his speed up and around on the high side there. But Lucas doing what you should, lock the brakes down, lock the car down so he could be predictable. And Daniel Keith Jr. just didn't react quick enough, didn't get slowed down quick enough, slides right into that wreck.
Well, because it's our first caution of the night, we want to give a quick thank you to the sponsors that help out at the Full Send Racing Series, Next Level Racing, ButtKicker, and the Lap Traffic Podcast. Usually we start out with the Lap Traffic Podcast promo to start out the broadcast. Well, we'll give them their airtime now to that of the podcast. We'll see you in just a few when we come back for the restart.
More NASCAR content? For all the latest in NASCAR, including driver interviews, race recaps, fantasy NASCAR, listener call-in shows, and awesome giveaways, tune in to the Lap Traffic Podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or your favorite hosting site with new shows every Tuesday night. Check out Lap Traffic on the web, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and follow on Twitter at LapTrafficPC. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!
With the ButtKicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. ButtKicker. The future is feeling.
Wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws. Dirt Racing will be available September 27th. Pre-order your copy today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Getting ready to go. Green Flag Racing here tonight for the Full Send Racing Series Championship presented by Berserker Industries. As the drivers see the pace car lights are off, we're about to go back to Green Flag Racing as two drivers officially out of the race. Daniel Keith Jr., Lucas Lyons, heavily involved with that last incident. They have parked it. They are done. Still in pit road, game repairs done is Joshua Altus in that of Nick Holland, as we're ready to go back to Green Flag Racing here tonight at Las Vegas. And it's going to be Chris Stitz, Cameron Sarton, Ross Tatum, and Cole Sacchetti, our top four championship four. And we're green heading down into turn number one.
And Stitz with a great jump there over that of Cameron starting the 24. Skitty thought about maybe trying to get to the inside of the 24. He's going to think better of it. Hits the apron a little bit, shoves up the racetrack. That's going to allow the 11 of Tatum to have a pretty good run on the outside of him. See if Tatum can get that pass cleared down the backstretch. Going to be clear of him just as they enter turn number 3. See if he dives it down there. Keeps it in the middle of the racetrack, but clears the 42 machine down into turn 4.
Big thing we got to watch out for is some drivers decide to come into pit road at that caution to take tires. Brian Burchett, that of Rob Sherwood, as well as Doug Pierce, all deciding to come into pit road, take some tires. We'll see how well they can react to go through the field as it's 7 laps to go before our stage break at the end of lap 40. But if a caution comes out in the next 5 laps at any point, that will cause these drivers to see their stage break be concluded. And Trevor, That just ramps things up. Points really don't matter for that of our championship 4, but for at least the 6, some others, they want to have a good run here.
They do, but right now for this 6 of Travis Dart getting swamped by Bruchette and Bustler and Sherwood all on those fresh tires up front. Ross Tatum able to drive around on the outside of the 24 of Cameron Sarton. We'll have to see how Stitz can do now in that fresh air. Doesn't have to worry about the 33 holding them up in dirty air, but it's going to have to worry about the 33 here in the next couple of laps because Bruchette is coming on those fresh tires.
And the main reason Brian Burchett is flying right now, we got fresh rubber, and he's going to be now making the pass for 3rd place, the 33. He wants to get as many stage points as possible, also for himself, because he comes in that of the 3rd driver in the points for the non-playoff championship. He's 37 points out, and Trevor, if he gets the 10 bonus points for winning the stage, and that of seeing the 6 car of Travis Dart get none, this 33 now puts himself in the catbird seat to try to go for this championship of the non-playoff drivers.
That he would, but just got into the outside wall on the backstretch there, so not sure how much damage that might give him, but able to drive right around everybody on those older tires, puts himself back up into the lead, and here comes the 2 of Rob Sherwood now. He's going to look to the inside here of the 11 of Ross Tatum down into turn number 1. Possibly going to fall right in line right now through the middle of the corner. We're going to have such a better drive on corner exit. Gets to the inside of Tatum. Now Tatum going to have to worry about maybe coming under attack from Cameron Sarton and Sacchetti as Sherwood's going to kind of hold him up here a little bit, slow him down. Almost a little bit of contact between Sarton and Tatum going into turn number 3.
Ross Tatum kind of looking like he was just parking it on the entry of that corner, trying to hold off the 24 and the 42 is now championship 4 all on screen. And the thing for all the 4 of these drivers, it is not about who wins the race. It's about who finishes ahead of the other drivers. You can finish and battle for last place. You can battle for the lead, but it's all about making sure you're the furthest ahead. And here comes Ross Tatum trying to get by this 22 of Stitz.
It looks like Stitz got a little loose, and I was wondering how Stitz's tires were going to be. Spent a lot of time battling with the 33 of Bruchette before that caution came out, so not sure how much tire he used up. It looks like might have used up a little bit more than he anticipated as Ross Tatum gets around and now going to be side by side with Cameron Sarton down here into turn number 1. But all 4 of our championship 4 stacked on top of one another down here in turn number 1.
Big factors watch out for. Yes, the 22 old tires been up front battling hard, but the 42 that we're riding on board with Cole Sacchetti. Cole is a driver that smacked the wall coming on the outside of turn 2, just that of 12 laps ago. So 42 got to be careful on getting any more damage. They can force him to be coming into pit road. As they come across the line, the drivers are set, they're ready to go. One more lap before they get the yellow here for our stage break.
Tatum going to lead our championship 4 down into turn number 1. Stitz going to follow him with Sarton and Sacchetti all nose to tail. Not looking like our championship 4 really going to make a move on one another. Just going to bring it down to the stage break in, I believe, 3rd through 6th position for these guys. And looking like just everybody trying to get there, Sarton with a little bit of a half-hearted look to the outside of Stitz here. Might try to cross him over, get to the line, but hold in place. So our championship 4 going to finish the stage break here, all nose to tail.
Caution flag is out, and that is your stage break here this evening. Drivers are given 40 laps before the stage break yellow is going to be thrown. That gives us a little bit of a preview of what to come. Brian Burchett, Rob Sherwood, they used their set of tires. They're now down to just 2 for the rest of the race. Will they decide to take a set here at the stage break, or will they decide to stay out? Time will tell, but for us, going to be giving you your top 10 here for our stage break. Going to be that of Brian Burchett in first. Second, it's going to be Rob Sherwood. Ross Tatum going to be 3rd. 4th goes to Chris Stitz. Cameron Sarton gets 5th. Cole Sacchetti 6th. 7th goes to that Travis Dart. Will Bustler gets 8th. Ken Campbell 9th. 10th goes to Aaron Hale. As we're going to take our normal official break, we're going to go side by side so you don't miss a thing. We'll be back in just a few here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Full Send Racing Series on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Tonight, stage breaks are done. It's all about racing it to the end. And currently, right now, it's going to be that of Rob Sherwood leading the way. Chris Stitz in second, Ross Tatum third, fourth. It's going to be that of Travis Dart with Cole Sketty fifth, as we've got 4 drivers battling for a championship on the track, as well as drivers battling for the non-playoff championships. That of Brian Burchett, Travis Dart, they are going to be practically tied moving forward, and they've got to make sure they finish within the top 8 if they're going to be passing. That is Zach Hall, who did not show up here tonight. For the 4 drivers battling for a championship, it's Chris Stitz in second, third of Ross Tatum, 5th position for that of Cole Sacchetti, and going to be falling all the way down to that of 8th place. It's Cameron Sarton just making that pass for 8th place. Those 4 drivers, it's not about points for them. It's all about the finishing position and being ahead of your competition. You don't need to win. You just need to be the furthest ahead of those 4. But tonight on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, my name is Sam Dyer. With me is Trevor Earhart. Trevor, it has been incredible to watch these drivers tonight, but we're coming up to lap 50, and this field is ramping up.
They are ramping up. No time to save tire now. No stage break to kind of save yourself. You got to take what you learned from the stage break, apply it here in the second half of the race. And right now, the 24, Cameron Sarton, one of our championship 4, the 2-time defending champ, is really struggling early on in this run. Not sure if he's saving tire, but it's falling back quite a bit from where he restarted. Kind of got stuck on the outside line and now falling back, kind of nestled in behind that of Aaron Hale back here in 9th, and just not going really anywhere for that 24 machine.
Yeah, and it's curious to watch because I was talking to Ross Tatum, who's known for saving tires the most, the 11 on screen and the Sprite. I mean, he was talking about how he was thinking about saving tires in the first stage. He did a little bit of it for only about 5 laps, but it just seemed like saving tires may not be the go-to strategy. Yes, it can work for about 5 to 10 laps, but then it seems like the plateau and fall off kind of equals out. So drivers aren't getting as big of an advantage I think they were expecting to have. And also with the timing of the caution that came out, our one and only on-track incident bring out a yellow, took out a couple of hard racing contenders. Curious on how this 11 and the rest of the field, how much did they learn from that stage break?
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think the issue is going to be is that dirty air. How hard is it going to be to get back by these guys that you've fallen behind trying to save a little bit of tire? I think we saw a glimpse of it with Burchett and Chris Stitz there before we got that first caution. Just how hard it was for Stitz to get around. The 33 was never able to do it until that caution came out and Burchett finally came down pit road. So for the 24 of Cameron Sarton, really going to have to fight to make up some ground to get back up to those other drivers.
But right now in a dogfight currently, it's going to be the 42 of Cole Sacchetti dealing with Brian Burchett. Will Bustler just not giving up. And at this point, if you're a championship contender, this has got to be slightly frustrating knowing that you're trapped side by side with a 33 who is being very aggressive. And then behind the 42, you've got Will Bustler and as well the 4 of Aaron Hale. They seem to be in the prowess of they want to move forward as the 42 just wants to settle in where he's at.
Yeah, Sacchetti just wants to kind of find a spot right around. Same with the 11 of Ross Tatum, and I'm pretty sure the 22 of Chris Stitz, but they've got to deal with Travis Dart, who's looking to move his way forward. Burchett on the move, using that outside line to his advantage. And then for Sacchetti, I mean, he's got to worry about now 36 of Bustler, the 4 of Aaron Hale. They're racing behind him, but also trying to race to find a way around that 42 machine, as they look like they have a little bit more pace than the 42 right now as well. So it's just a combination of not losing touch with the guys that you're racing for a championship with, but also not racing hard with these guys that are battling around you and possibly getting caught up in an incident.
And speaking of incidents, Lucas Lyons, who was involved with that first wreck of the night, right before he got caught up in his wreck, he was around the championship contenders as Hale gets out the wall, almost collecting Will Bustler there. We saw Lucas Lyons got into the wall, got loose, almost collecting 3 of our 4 championship drivers. And seeing this aggressive driving, got to be thinking in the back of your mind, am I in a position to go win this race? Or am I racing too aggressively right now? We're closing in to halfway here just in a few and just out of 10 laps. Drivers might be thinking maybe it's a little bit too soon to get this aggressive. But the one driver that is in a pretty comfortable spot, just a little bit too far back, Cameron Sarton in 9th. He's in a very comfortable position. No one even pressuring him at this time.
Yeah, really got nobody around him. He can just kind of run his own race and see what, calamity might, fall up in front of him. But right now, everybody just kind of knows the tail. And Sam, that's one of the great things about playoff racing. When you get to the championship race, yeah, you're racing 3 other guys for a championship, but you've also got to race everybody around you at the same time. That's what makes it so exciting. You never know what's going to happen. You're going to have guys racing for the win, guys racing to, be the first car at the top of the point standings outside the playoffs, like that of Travis Dart, Brian Bruchette. They're racing for that. Who's going to be at the top of the point standings that didn't make the playoffs? And that's what makes these playoff races so exciting when we get to it.
Never know what storylines are going to lie out in front of you in the 24. He has seen this story before. He knows how to get the championship done. He's won 2 of the championships, and the only 2 championships this series has had. The 3rd season we are currently in, and Cameron Sarn not wanting to give up that championship. He kind of was a little bit patient at the beginning of the season, didn't get that first win, and still a little bit, into that of race 3 of the season. This 24 has been pretty consistent of just staying under the radar at times. Last week, can't say that he dominated last week at Richmond, but it's been the other drivers that have shown out. The 11 of Ross Tatum came in as a rookie, and this 11 really did show that he was a threat to watch out for. One of the first drivers to get multi-wins in the beginning portions of this season, and gotta say, Ross Tatum probably marked himself as a driver to watch for if he had made it to the Final Four. He's here, and now he's seen his competition rising to the occasion as Chris Stitz still holds on in 2nd place for the 22, who just continues to lead our championship for the majority of the night so far.
It's just interesting storylines with all our championship 4 drivers. Stitz had the speed, had the bad luck, the inconsistencies throughout the season, finally gets that breakthrough win at Homestead, leading our championship 4. Cole Sacchetti, the man who dominated the early portions of the season and then kind of struggled toward the back half, but brought it back around in the playoffs. Ross Tatum, probably the most consistent of the playoff drivers, probably one of the best ones on the long runs, especially at the 1.5 miles, sitting there in 6th position. And then the 2-time champ Cameron Sarton, like you said, slow start, but these playoffs has just been running a perfect playoff performance for him, and dominated last week all the way back there in 9th. So the stories of these guys' seasons have been so different, but here we are, Las Vegas, and only a couple positions separating each one from one another.
You look at the playoffs, almost every single championship driver has won a race in the last 4 races in the playoffs. It's been Cameron Sarton winning the first race of the round of 12 at that of New Hampshire. Michigan was won by Ross Tatum. Chris Stitz, winner of Homestead last week, dominated by Cameron Sarton. There's one name that's been missing in the playoffs, finding themselves in a victory lane, and that's Cole Sacchetti in 4th place, but he is getting aggressive with the non-playoff drivers in front of him, that being Travis Dart. And Travis going to be right on Chris Stitz's bumper, not giving up the relentless drive by the 6 machine as we're closing in on halfway.
Yeah, and Stitz just running around. It doesn't look like he's taken off as quickly as he did the last run at the start of the race. So maybe saving a little bit of tire in that 22 machine, realizing that he might have overdrove it a little bit. We've got to worry about that of Travis Dart, our pole sitter, who's had a pretty good run here tonight. Only fell back to, I believe, 7th or 8th there toward the end of the stage with everybody taking those fresh tires, getting around him. But looking for a way around that 22 machine, high, low, not quite able to do it, but that allows the door to open up for the 42 of Sacchetti's. He's going to look to the inside here off of turn number 4, not quite able to get all the way beside the 6 machine, but going to be side by side going down here into turn number 1.
Talking about dirty air being an issue. Contact going to be by the 6 and the 42 on the entry of the corner. Just a little bit of misjudgment on who is going to enter where. The 6, a little bit of an aggressive arcing motion. The 42 not expecting that. Thought he was going to hold that on the outside wall. Strategy didn't happen. A little bit of a scare. Luckily, not as much contact as there could have been. But Travis Dart, Cole Sacchetti certainly had a heart-stopping moment there.
Hold your breath. I think this is the second time that Sacchetti and Ross Tatum, for that matter, both had to hold their breaths in the first half of this race. Is almost contact with Lucas Lyons early on, and now right there a little bit of contact with Travis Dart. Thankfully, both those drivers keep it straight, and not a whole lot of contact made, but just enough to kind of make you step back a little bit, take a deep breath, regather yourself, and Sacchetti now going to have to come back after the 6 machine, but be aware of that late arcing move that 6 likes to do down in turn number 1.
And with us coming to the halfway marker now of the night here on lap 66, we are now seeing the drivers trying to settle in where they're at this current moment, and gotta give note that Cameron Sarton is still technically attached to the draft. It's just he's starting to lose touch to our top 8 that are starting to pull away from that of the 2-time champion. He once was in a comfortable zone. Now I'm curious, Trevor, on the fact of if this race stays green, and we got that first caution that happened around lap 30, if we get another caution with how long this run is going, if that trend continues similarly, we would see a yellow here in the next 6 to that of 8 laps, which would be around that 30 to 32 marker of being on a run. I'm curious for that Cameron Sarton if he's banking on a yellow at this current moment, or if he's hoping for this race to stay green.
You know, I really don't know what Sarton's strategy is going to be. Almost 3 seconds behind that of Sherwood, and for that matter, about 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds behind that of Chris Stitz is the 24 machine. So not sure if he's going for that tire save mentality and try to see if he can run these guys back on the long run, or if maybe he's banking on that caution. But Sam, with him banking on a caution, I mean, we lost 4 cars in that first caution. We went from 17 drivers down to that of just 13 drivers on the lead lap. 14, I believe, out on track, as I believe Joshua Altus has gotten back on track in the 94 machine. But the odds of us having that caution with the amount of cars we have on track are just looking a little bit slim.
Oh no, a little bit of blinking issues. Chris Stitz gave me a heart attack for a quick second. That is something of an unknown for that of these drivers. Now, in real life racing, a random engine blowing, seeing a part on the car breaking down, that is something that you never can predict. That could just randomly happen to these drivers. Trevor, the 22, just had a massive blink where he was almost gone for about a quarter of the track. If he has another massive blink like that, he could find himself out of this race, as we're seeing a little bit more of stacked 3-wide racing as the 6, the 42, and the 11 are getting close to one another. They got to be careful for this battle for third, but at the same time, internet issues got to be a concern for the 22.
Yeah, and there's just something that's completely out of your control, your internet connection dropping out. Something as a sim racer, I mean, it's just so out of your control as Sicchetti gets really tight to the inside of Travis Dart. Almost got up into the 6 machine, and then going to have to give that position up to the 11 of Ross Tatum. But Sam, again, just going to show you how hard it is to pass. Dart doing a great job running that middle to high groove, getting a run off the corner, not making it easy for these guys on the bottom to make that move.
And when you're in the early going, fresh tires, you can really make this inside lane work. You can get back to the throttle and feel the strength that your tires have the grip to hold down on that inside lane. But as the run goes on, the more that there's going to be slipping action of the car just naturally wanting to drift up, and that outside lane, the much better defensive line, and that of Dart understanding if as long as he holds this outside lane, he should be all right. It's going to be a very aggressive move by the 11 if he's going to make this pass, which has got to be frustrating for Ross Tatum, recognizing, hey, my championship driver I want to race for is right in front of me. Just let me go. We're not racing one another for a championship.
Yeah, it's so frustrating as that driver just, hey, let me go. I need to get up there and catch these guys and see what I can do. And Kenny's got to be feeling it the most. I mean, almost it's twice now that him and Travis Dart have almost made contact. But you know, Travis is in his own little points battle, trying to do everything he can to get ahead of Zach Hall, who wasn't here tonight, and get as many points as the 6 machine can. So at the same time, these guys are battling for a championship. Dart battling for his own points battle in the midst of all this, but so frustrating as a championship driver, just getting held up by somebody that you know isn't racing for as high a stakes as you are.
And they've got to be careful because the driver that's starting to find a little bit of inking speed, that's the 24 of Cameron Sarton. He's kept the pace at least equal now to our leader. He's trying to find a way to go moving forward. He's moved up at least one position. Is that Cameron Sarton up that to 8th place? As we see back at the 10th place marker, Ken Campbell in no man's land. It's really our top 9 that are within striking distance of one another, but now we are eking a little bit closer and closer to pit stops being in mind, as we are now 10 laps away from drivers getting close to that marker of when pit stops could potentially start at that beginning of the fuel window.
And pit stops, like we touch on every week, going to be so important. Can't slide through your box, can't make a mistake. Having been in that position and made those mistakes, I mean, it can be so deflating, especially in the championship race, to make a mistake down pit road. And for these guys, it's going to have to be picture perfect. I mean, we're about to see 3 of our championship 4 nose to tail. If Sacchetti can get around that of Travis Dart in the 6 machine, that's going to put Stitz, Tatum, and Sacchetti all nose to tail, and that just makes it the pressure even more immense on you when we get to those green flag pit stops, knowing that y'all are running nose to tail.
How do you want to run this one out as Ross Tatum is able to get by that of Travis Dart, and Travis is now going to be relinquishing his position to Cole Sacchetti in a much simpler and easier fashion. Now will the 6 let that of the 36 get on by? We'll find out here shortly, as actually that of Dart having some major blinking issues for himself. Now I know that weather also a issue for drivers' internet, as a lot of seeing drivers dealing with, winter and that of the rains falling. But for the track temp here virtually, drivers dealing with a very cool track. Track temperature only 70 degrees. That of the ambient temperature for the virtual Las Vegas, 67 degrees. Wind 8 miles per hour, staying at a steady west direction, meaning these drivers have pretty perfect conditions to at least have this car stay stable underneath them. But Trevor, with it being as cold as it is, for the track temp being 70 degrees, that's not giving you much of a window to work with on these tires.
No, it's not. I mean, you got to get heat into them. But, with it being as cool as it is, the track's going to have a lot of grip, meaning you're going to carry a lot of speed throughout the course of the night. And if that's not something you're used to running on, is Stitz again with another big blinking issue. Hasn't come back there. He's back now. And for Chris Stitz, I mean, that's got to be heart-dropping for himself as he blinks in and out of the race. But back to the tires, I mean, with having that much more grip than maybe what you're used to can cause you to wear them out a little bit more. But for the cars, like you touched on, gives these cars a pretty good opportunity to operate at a pretty balanced rate. Usually we see these cars go from a tight to loose sensation or a loose to tight sensation based on how you drive them. But tonight, with how cool it's going to be, these cars should stay pretty balanced for these drivers.
There is some lap traffic in the way. That's Joshua Altus, who's involved in our first caution of the night. 94 going to be staying high, trying to let everyone pass on by as easily as they can, as the 94 is underpowered, but trying to get as many points as possible. But even with lap traffic that's under pace, got to be careful you don't catch them at the wrong position on the track. That's the entry and exit of these corners, and everyone smoothly getting by that of Altus.
That they did. Sam, looking back here, the 24, Cameron Sarton, slowly creeping in on that of the 42 of Sacchetti. Sacchetti starting to lose a little bit of touch to that of Tatum and Chris Stitz, but Sarton closing in on Will Bustler and Travis Dart. That'd be for 5th and 6th position, and right in front of him is going to be that 42 of Sacchetti once the 24 gets to the back bumper, the 36 of Will Bustler.
We look at the gap between that of the 24 to our leader, that of Cameron Sarton. He was almost 3 seconds off our leader for the majority of this run, but in the last 8 laps, he has cut that down by almost a full second. 24 now within 2 seconds to our leader and within striking distance of 5th and 6th place. The 24 last lap, the fastest car on track was that of Cameron Sarton, and it looks like we got our question answered. This 24 was waiting for the long run. He is flying at this current moment.
Yeah, he did a great job. Maybe thought he fell back a little bit too far, saving those tires, but now driving back up here, caught everybody up. Ross Tatum, though, in front of these guys, going to battle with the 22 of Stitz. Tatum a little bit faster than that of Chris Stitz. Maybe saved a little bit more tire than Stitz did, but down here in 3 and 4, they're going to be side by side, but Stitz has that preferred line on the outside. If he can get that car to grip up, should be able to get a better run off the corner, pinch that 11 down, and hold on to that 2nd position.
Ross Tatum needs to make this pass quickly and get by the 22, because the longer that they start to battle and bicker, it's going to be giving the 24 an opportunity to close in. But that of Cameron Sarton is still boxed in. You see it there in the back half of their screen. There is still a wall of drivers of Dart and Bustler holding off Cameron Sarton. So Ross Tatum, he's getting a couple of extra laps to try to make this pass, but he is not going to be having too many more opportunities as Cameron Sarton continues to stay patient. And you got to give credit to the 24. This is a championship run of recognizing, I want to make this pass. I could try to force it 3 wide. I'm just going to stay stable, try to settle in, and just hope that these drivers can settle off this battle as fast as possible.
Yeah, just being smart about it, being patient, but can't be too patient for too much longer. He's going to lose touch to these guys, but up front, as the Tatum and Stitz's battle, that allowed the 42 of Sacchetti to close in back up on these two as they battled it out. And so Sacchetti starting to close in back behind them as Dart and Bustler continue to battle. Sarton went all the way to the top in turn 3 and 4, tried to get a good run and follow the 6 of Travis Dart as he tries to get around Will Bustler, but still going to be boxed in as that 24 machine.
And the pit window has opened up. If drivers would like to come in, they can come in at this time and get fuel tires, and they can take this race to the end. But you don't want to be the first driver, I'd imagine. Here, Trevor, you're trying to settle in and find a position to where you can make these, a pit stop strategy where you're going to have plenty of time with good tires and then make a push to the end as 3 of our Championship 4 drivers battling here for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And their other competitor, Cameron Sarton, still boxed in back, watching the battling for 5th.
Oh, I thought we were going to have a moment back there in that battle for 5th position. Sarton thought about making it 3 wide coming on corner exit at turn number 4, got pinched between that of Bustler and Dart, backed out of it just enough to keep the nose of that 24 machine clean. Going to clear the 36 of Bustler here down into turn number 3, but again, stuck behind that of Dart. Dart continuing to run that outside line, but Sarton, now that he's clear of that 36 of Bustler, should be able to make quick work of the 6 machine of Dart and try to catch back up to Sacchetti, Tatum, and Stitz.
And Will Bustler going to be given the draft assistance on the straightaway and finally able to clear the 6. But what type of a run will Dart have? Or will he be able to have a run to try to get side by side with the 24? He won't. Little bit of touch to Will Bustler as they're going to still squabbling now. Instead of 5th, it's for 6th. A 36 in the 6 machine. If we're going to see a yellow, it was going to be from that group as Dart just backs out. Doesn't want to worry about the challenge. And our first pit stop of our Championship 4, it's Chris Stitz in a pit road.
Stitz coming down pit road, and this should trigger our other 3 championship drivers to come down pit road this next time by, I would think. But Stitz going, I think, a little early, going for that undercut in that 22 machine. We'll have to see what everybody else is going to do. Sounds like Robert Sherwood, our race leader, is going to bring that 2 machine down pit road. Haven't heard anything from Tatum or Sacchetti yet. Those 2 continue to stay out another lap over that of the 22 of Stitz. Oh, and Sherwood almost misses pit road, but gets it mowed down and back to pit road. Thought he might miss that and come back up the racetrack there.
Yeah, that certainly was a scary moment for himself. A couple of other drivers had scary moments. That of Brian Burchett, a part of that first group of drivers that pitted, spun out, lost over that of 12 seconds on his competition, the 33. He is going to be struggling to gain back any positions back. He's going to hope this pit cycle goes all the way through, and then a caution comes out because the 33 is going to need some assistance to go after that non-playoff drivers championship. But for the drivers that are battling for the Season 3 official drivers championship, Ross Tatum, that of Cole Sacchetti, Cameron Sarton, your top 3. Chris Stitz pitting this early. Trevor, I don't know if I'm a fan of this. He was in the lead, one of those positions where he didn't have to pit this early, as Will Bustler, Philip Chavez now coming to pit road.
Yeah, not sure if he just felt his tire wear was too much. He was doing a good job holding the 11 of Tatum up, but right now already 2 laps older tires than what these guys are going to have. Once this cycles out, make that 3 laps as Tatum, Sacchetti, and Sarton all stay out for another lap. So Stitz going to have the oldest tires at the end of this race. Maybe banking on having that fresh air on that on the nose of the 22 and being able to hold these guys off. But same the fresh tires. I don't know how this is going to play out for that 22 machine.
It doesn't make sense. And when I look at the strategy book on when to come into pit road, if you're the leader, you should not be the first driver to come into pit road unless you have a foolproof plan and you know the pace is there for you to hold off other drivers. Here comes that of Cole Sacchetti into pit road as he'll make his way quite easily into his entry, and now going to be seen when will Ross Tatum, Cameron Sarton. Sarton still has some decent pace. Obviously lost about a second staying behind that of Dart, as well as seeing the other battle with that of Will Bustler just that of 10 laps ago. But at this moment, still waiting on Ross Tatum, Cameron Sarton to come out. And if a caution does come out, they would be practically the only drivers on the lead lap currently.
Yeah, that would just be devastating if a caution came out. It means Sherwood, Stitz, Sacchetti would all have to take a waiver round and start at the end of the longest line. Thankfully, with there only being that of 2 cars on the lead lap, wouldn't be that long of a line for those drivers. But Sam, I'm looking at this 4 laps, the difference in tires between Stitz and Sacchetti, and add 5-6 laps to Tatum and Sarton on Sacchetti, 2 to 3 laps over that of Sacchetti wants Tatum and Sarton bring it down pit road. It looks like they're both going to come down pit road this time by.
And both going to come in. And you think about how many laps are left. If this race stays green, this is plenty of time for Ross Tatum, Cameron Sarton, as well as Cole Skeddy to try to gain up and pass those drivers, but you do not want to make any mistakes. Everyone has done a clean job of entering pit road and not getting caught speeding, but you don't want to slide through your box. That can be costly on time, and you see the 24 just slightly goes over his limit, had to back up, and that is a lost time that you cannot afford at this moment.
That, from experience, is going to cost the 24 about 3 to 4 seconds. And it's got to be so heartbreaking for Cameron Sarton. The two-time champ just needed to get in his box cleanly, slides through it just that ever so bit. Came into pit road nose to tail with the 11 of Ross Tatum. Salmon, look at the gap as they exit pit road right here.
It just continues to grow bigger and bigger between the 11 and the 24, and in between them was that of Cole Sacchetti. Sacchetti is now by that of Ross Tatum, and now it's the 3 championship drivers trying to figure out how do we catch up to this one. Chris Stitz, second place, sees that Rob Sherwood in front of him, going to be diving it down low. The 22 trying to take the lead, get the fresh air, and try to pull away and make the big enough lead that he won't see his competitors catch up to him. But the math just does not line up for the 22. He is going to need a miracle run to figure out how to hold off his competitors that right now sit in 7th, 8th, and 9th place. But Trevor, when we look at the math, we look at the data, the tire advantage goes to those that are deeper in the field.
Goes to those guys. It goes to Sacchetti, Tatum. That of Cameron Sarton. I mean, they're going to have the tire advantage. The good thing for Stitz, though, is he's got about a 6.5 second gap back to that of Cole Sacchetti. The issue that he has is he's about 0.2 of a second slower than that of Sacchetti and Tatum and Cameron Sarton as they're on those fresh tires trying to make this ground up. So we're going to have to wait and see. Does he have a big enough gap, and will the tires equalize for these guys by the time they catch that of Chris Stitz having to go through the dirty air of passing Ken Campbell, Will Bustler, Aaron Hale, Travis Dart, and Rob Sherwood? I mean, we've seen how hard Bustler has been willing to drive. That of Travis Dart, Aaron Hale, I mean, they've all been putting up fights against our championship drivers. Ken Campbell, the only one who really hasn't put up much of a fight. So he let the 42 car go by the first time that they went to battle. But here again, coming out of turn number 4, Campbell's not going to move out of the way for that of the 42 of Sacchetti. Sachetti's going to have to take it all the way to the apron to try to get it on the 15 machine.
I mean, if you're thinking about all the beating and banging that happened between 15 and the 42, that is the only thing that Ken Campbell can do. You can see the massive damage that he's dealing with on the rear end for the 15. Wasn't much on the defensive, but blocking the exit speed of small little hurts can help that of Chris Stitz go for a championship run, but that gap continues to shrink down each and every lap. But like you said, Will Bustler's been difficult to get by. Travis Dart has been the most difficult driver of the night to get by, and he currently runs in 3rd place. By the time that Cole Sacchetti, of Ross Tatum, Cameron Sarton, they catch up to the 6th machine, that's going to be the biggest question on what are the tires going to look like. Have they plateaued enough to where they're equal, or do you still have an advantage with pitting as late as those drivers did? We're riding on board with the 11 of Ross Tatum, currently going to be 6 seconds back from Chris Stitz. Going to be finding himself just that, about going to be finding himself a second off of Cole Sacchetti. This 11 needs to find some good pace, but with us having 30 laps to go when they cross the line again, another thing that you have to watch out for is pushing the car too hard too early.
Yeah, that's what these guys are going to have to be careful of, just trying to make up that time. You know, this early on in the run, you can't be over aggressive, put too much heat in those tires, and put yourself in a situation where you're going to wear them out before you ever have a chance to run those guys down, especially for Ross Tatum. I mean, he's about a 1.5 seconds behind Sacchetti trying to catch the 42 machine, but can't overdrive his tires. But the man who's in the most trouble is going to be that of Cameron Sarton, the 24, and he's 3 seconds behind that of Ross Tatum just in and of itself based off his pit road mistake.
And he doesn't have that advantage of tires. He came in right when the 11 did, and being that far back is going to be hurtful as riding on aboard with that Cole Sacchetti just getting by Aaron Hale and kind of allowing Will Bustler to be the storming arrow in front of him, letting the 36 making all these passes. But how bad is this going to be hurting that of the 42? Kolsketti's tires here, Trevor. Him just sitting behind. He's been slowly catching up to Bustler, but has not been able to make the pass. This looks to be his first good opportunity down into 3.
I mean, just the more he has to ride on the dirty air, the tighter that car is going to get. Having to use those tires up, trying to make this pass work, as well as Bustler using that outside line, keeping the 42 pinched down there on the apron. And Sacchetti going to try to take it all the way to the apron, see if he can get that run down here into turn number 1. Bustler going to drive it in, pinch the 42 down to the white line. And the more these guys battle, the more that Stitz can pull away, the more wear that's going to be on those tires of the 42. And again, Sacchetti can't get that pass done as Bustler gets the better drive off the top.
And you might be wondering, why is Will Bustler pinching so aggressively on the 42? He's just not giving any space. The reason why, he's Ross Tatum's teammate, and Ross is closing in on this battle.
Closing in, getting ever so closer, but at the same time, Stitz is just trying to manage that gap down to 4 seconds between Sacchetti and Chris Stitz. Stitz opened up a second gap to Sherwood as Sacchetti is going to slide drop it off of turn number 2 and clear the 36 of Bustler, but Bustler going to go with the crossover move. Down to turn number 3.
Oh my goodness, he is a never give up, but a worse nightmare for that Cole Sacchetti right now. This 42 thought he was in a prime position, but just found the teammates being so aggressive that a Will Bustler expecting to just get out of the way, let Ross Tatum go as he drives high, or will he? Bustler really not just giving up on his teammate, he's just gonna hold steady in the center of the corner.
Yeah, just running that high groove. Tatum not able really close enough to be to the inside of the 36 down here into 3 and 4, though. I think we'll see Bustler move out of the way. Bustler drifts up the track, yep, just lets the 11 go, lets his teammate go by. But just look at the difference. It was about a second and a half between Tatum and Sacchetti, but that battling right there brought Ross Tatum to the rear bumper of Cole Sacchetti. Now they've both got to get around the 6 of Travis Dart. And Dart, we've seen it all night long, been one of the hardest drivers to get around. And that's just another car, more tire wear that the 42 and the 11 are going to have to put on their tires to try to track down the 22 of Chris Stitz. But Sam, they're slowly starting to bring that gap in, 3.5 seconds now.
I'm just also keeping my eye on Cameron Sarden. That little bit of battling we saw from Bustler onto that of Cole Sacchetti, allowing the 24 to close in on the gap as well on those drivers by about a second. He is starting to close in. The 24 could still have a miracle run that he's going to need, but Chris Stitz going to be leading by that of 3 seconds once he gets to the line. Less than 25 laps to go, and Chris Stitz hoping for himself to have one of the best runs, one of the most inconsistent drivers of the whole entire season. And right now having a great charge. The pass for second of the championship is on. Ross Tatum gets by that of Cole Sacchetti. Now going to be side by side for 3rd place. Travis Dart stays high. He lets them go. Ross Tatum now the charging driver trying to go for the championship.
What a good move there by Dart. Lets the 11 of Ross Tatum go, but gets a great drive off the top. Turn number 2, but backs out of it. Allows the 42 of Sacchetti to take his line, but Tatum gets around Sacchetti, and now clean air for the 11 to go track down Rob Sherwood and try to get by Sherwood to have himself in a position to battle Chris Stitz for the championship, as it looks like Sacchetti might have used those tires up a little bit too much, and that 42 machine's starting to lose touch with the 11.
I mean, also, you think of the battle that he had with Will Bustler, those 3 laps of just non-stop aggression. That wasn't any kindness to Cole Sacchetti's tires, on top of being 2 laps older than Ross Tatum. It just, the cards were not in the favor of the 42 as he continues to linger on, but I'm also trying to keep my eyes out on Cameron Sarden. He's 4.5 seconds off, but he's trying to catch up to Ross Tatum. Tatum, the numbers line up that he will be able to catch that at Chris Stitz by the time that this race is around that 8 laps to go. Could be sooner than that, but he is flying at this current moment for the 11. But can Cameron Sarden shrink down this difference as a pass for the lead's been made? Rob Sherwood going to be by the 22. That's not good for Stitz, for his tires anymore.
That's not what Stitz wants to see now in that dirty air of the 2 of Sherwood. It's going to make that 2 machine tire, those old tires already going to be starting to hurt even more now as he follows Sherwood. But those 2 on the same pit strategy. Tatum on that of about 5-lap pressure tires, now down to about 2 seconds to gap between Tatum and Chris Stitz. The battle for the championship Going to be heating up here not too long, Sam, as that 11 car lurking ever so closer in the mirrors of the 22 of Chris Stitz.
Ross Tatum, if this race stays green, looks to have a championship right in front of him. The battle now going to be less than a second and a half, soon to be a second in about a lap or two, as we now have ourselves less than 20 laps to go. And the 11, who was a shining star at the beginning of the season, he is now closing in on Chris Stitz, who had so many opportunities, what-if scenarios throughout the season, and now the 22 might have a lot of what-ifs going through his mind now of what if I pitted just that and maybe 5 laps later than I did. This early pit stop so aggressive, he felt like he needed to try something different, and Trevor, it is about to go up in smoke. The difference less than a second now to Ross Tatum.
Less than a second, and that time by 0.3 of a second quicker. Ross Tatum over that of Chris Stitz, just showing you 5-lap difference in tires, how much quicker the 11 is going to be. And for Ross, or for that of Chris Stitz, I mean, not even 5 laps later, I mean 3 laps later, that he could have pitted and probably had a good chance to hold off the 11. But with the rate of speed that Tatum is catching Stitz, I don't know if Stitz is going to be able to put up a fight over the 11 machine.
And looking at this pace, it's about to be that in 2 seconds. It's crazy to see the differences for these drivers on how they're running. It is just that 6 laps in difference. It was wild to think how Ross Tatum was running here, and this 11 is right on the bumper now.
Right on the bumper, 5 car lengths the difference between Stitz and Tatum as they head into turn number 4, and you can just see the 22 not able to hug the white line, gets a little tight on corner exit that just allows the 11 to close in ever so closer to that rear bumper. 4 car lengths now going into turn number 1, make it 3 as Tatum drives it in hard. 2 car lengths almost to the rear bumper now. The 11 of Tatum coming out of turn number 2. He's going to be there, Sam, going into turn number 3.
But the big thing for Chris Stitz, if he holds off Ross Tatum long enough, Cameron Sarton is trying to carve his way through that pack that we see behind these 2 drivers. If the 24 can do so and the 22 can hold off, there's a chance for a battle for the championship, but gives an opening. The 22 going to be trying to pinch here, but Ross Tatum to the quarter panel, side by side into turn number 1. The pass for the championship. The 11 dives it down low, going to be contact, puts the 22 up in the middle lane, holds on. Ross Tatum takes the lead.
Ross Tatum dove it in hard. 15 laps to go. Made it stick just about. 8 tires are better than 4. A little bit of contact made. Not sure if there's any damage to the right side of the 11 machine, but gets by Chris Stitz. Fresh air now for that 11. And now for Cole Siketti, Cameron Sarton, they've got to try to track down the 11, but there's nobody to really hold Ross Tatum up anymore, Sam.
And the difference at last lap equal between the 11 and the 24. Both were making passes that lap, and Cole Siketti just nowhere to be found. Now it's on if there is a caution. Ross Tatum does not want to see that happen for himself, mainly because there's a few drivers out there on track that have already used up it's already used up all their sets of tires, meaning if there's a caution, you would not be the control vehicle or near the control. You would probably be in row 2 or row 3. So the hopes for Ross Tatum stay green, and I've got this championship in the bag.
Yeah, probably for the 22 of Chris Stitz, it's a complete opposite. Hey, I want a caution. I need to come in and take that last set of tires. Our championship 4 all still have 1 set of tires laying in pit road if there were to be a late race caution. But right now, if this thing stays green, the 11 of Ross Tatum in the catbird seat, looking good to collect his first championship here in the Full Send Racing Series, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes in these last 14 laps.
As it's going to be your final 4. Going to be in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Cameron Sarton trying to make the pass for 4th place to get by Cole Siketti. Siketti threw out his whole entire opportunity. Will Bustler really took any opportunities away from the 42 machine, but here comes that of Cameron Sarton. Going to be trying to make the pass. He needs to be quick on every pass he makes because the 24 is faster than Ross Tatum in clean air. It's every time he makes a pass, though, he's losing time to the 11.
Yeah, gets by the 42 of Siketti pretty cleanly. There's Siketti not able to go for the crossover move, so move Sarton up to 4th. Now he's got to get by Chris Stitz and try to see if he can track down that of Ross Tatum, but pretty much a corner difference between the 11 and the 24 as they come out of turn number 2, and he's running out of the laps. Sam coming to 10 to go this time by.
But the last 2 to 3 laps, Cameron Sarton has been faster than Ross Tatum. Tatum is the second fastest of our championship 4, but coming up to 10 laps to go. Rob Sherwood, he is right now about a second ahead of that of Ross Tatum. That last lap, he has a big enough gap that he should be able to hold off, and Tatum now going to have to try to make a pass on a lap car. That's going to be losing time for the 11. That last lap, 2/10 off, and at this rate, with 10 laps to go, Cameron Sargent technically could make this work.
He could make this work, but he's got to get around Stitz and do it quickly. And along with that, he's got to hope that the 68 of Nick Holland holds up the 11 of Ross Tatum just a little bit longer. Give that 24 machine the best chance that he has is Sargent pushing for as much as he can. Almost gets to the outside wall out of turn number 4.
And just trying, Ross Tatum trying to get by that Nick Holland. Holland lap car staying in the driver's lane. And for this 11 machine, that is just costing on time in the corner as that dirty air just making him push higher and higher. And the 68 continues to hold that inside lane as we're coming to 8 to go. Rob Sherwood has been feeling comfortable, went with an oddball strategy. It looks like he could be finding himself in a victory lane, but for the championship, looking at the difference, it was equal that last time by because Cameron Sargent is caught up to Stitz. He needs to make this pass quickly and figure out a way to run down that Ross Tatum. 8 laps to go, about to be 7 when they cross the line. Trevor, it is now all about the final push as Cameron Sargent, the 2-time champ, tries to get by Chris Stitz.
And Stitz pinching that 24 machine down. You saw how loose the 24 got there getting into the corner. Not able to get that pass done right now, and that's just costing the 24 time. Had a good run down the backstretch. Just can't get around the 22 of Chris Stitz. It's going to allow Ross Tatum to pull away that much but Tatum trying to pass the 68 of Nick Holland. Holland's going to hold it to the outside of the 11. And this could hold up Ross Tatum, but Sargent nowhere to go, looking to the outside of Stitz, who's going to keep it to the inside.
And going to be seen on the outside, Cameron Sargent. He's going to have to try to make a power move on the outer groove. Cole Sketty's going to be closing in as well, but the gap now is 2.5. That's just too big of a gap, it looks like, with the way that these tires are looking. But the fact that Ross Tatum still has not been able to get by the Taco Bell machine of Nick Holland. Holland is making the drama certainly a lot bigger, but Tatum almost clears, not able to. He pushes up tight, and that Cameron Sargent is finally able to get by. It is on 6 laps to go, about to be 5. And the fact that Taco Bell, Nick Holland's holding on, yellow flag comes out.
Oh, the drama.
It's going to be Brian Burchett. The 33 spins out on the exit of 4. We're going to overtime.
The drama with Ross Tatum and Nick Holland, the lap car battling what would have been our champion that hard. Cameron Sargent, after the mistake on pit road, trying to close in. And then a late race yellow, Sam, overtime, old tires, new tires, the championship 4 all on top of one another. I mean, what more could you ask for in the final race of the season?
Oh my goodness. I don't know if we've got the replay, but this is an interesting yellow to look at because, Trevor, we've seen this in other leagues. If we go back and see how this starts, I don't want to throw hands, but the way that 33 took this corner is a little odd to see someone take a corner into turn 3.
Yeah, looking back here, let's see Burchett coming into turn number 3. Arcs it in there, and Sam, we saw it when we were on the rewind there, but
you usually don't, even if you're taking the corner normally, even if you're loose, going onto the apron that far, that looks intentional.
That's either a severe lack of concentration, or we have I believe it was Michael Waltrip Racing and Clint Boyer from Richmond situation going on right now. But yeah, this changes everything, and that is, Sam, I'm just gonna say it, that's not a good look for the 33 of Brian Burchett.
It doesn't at all, because also for Brian Burchett, he doesn't have another set of tires to work with. He's just going to have to come in, get repairs done. That's all he can do, and that is we're going to throw it out there. We're going to do an in-car view and see exactly what those hands were looking like. But, I mean, I'm just going to say it blatantly. That looks like an intentional wreck, but we'll have to take another look at it as you see the hands turning, and that he's never even tried to correct it. He just kept on turning down. That is an intent wreck if I've ever seen it, and that is Ryan Burchett. He obviously wants some flair, some drama, and he got it.
We got the flair, got the drama, and more drama is pit strategy. Chris Stitz, 2-tire call for the 22 machine. puts him out ahead of Tatum, Sarton, Sacchetti with a slow pit stop in that 42 machine is going to be mired back in traffic, but 3 of our championship 4 are going to be nose to tail, and Chris Stitz swinging for the fences on a 2-tire pit stop.
And this was something I was actually told of by Ken Campbell coming into the night, is he felt like 2 tires late could be a call for some of these drivers if they felt like they wanted a little bit of extra looseness on the exit of the corners, but that is something that's going to work for them. As went back, Cole Skeddy, he was up there in the top 5, top 10. He is 10th currently. He overshot his pit stall. That is why he fell all the way down to 10th place for the 42. His championship hopes don't look great for himself, as we are waiting for the official lights to be switched over for overtime, as we are coming up to 2 to go. But that means that these drivers will not be able to finish this race in official time. Overtime, Trevor. Oh man, this is we thought it was crazy before. It's about to be wild with pack racing for the championship.
Yeah, I mean, this series all season long has just provided us with hard racing, great racing, and just add this one to another list of exciting finishes we're about to see. And nonetheless, for a championship as well, 3 of our championship 4 are going to start 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then Cole Sacchetti all the way down there in 5th. Expect the 42 to make aggressive moves on this green-white checkered. And there's no guarantee that we only have 1 shot at this. We could have multiple attempts at this, and we could see some carnage with some of our championship 4 just based on how they were racing there toward the end of that race.
I mean, Chris Stitz is going to be doing anything he can. I would imagine Stitz is ready to get himself wrecked out of this race if he's going to go for a championship. Ross Tatum's going to be having to be aggressive here. Cameron Sarton, I'm not sure what we're going to see from the 24, honestly. He's been so patient for most of this race, and we don't know what we're going to get, but there are some absolutes that we know. And tonight, we will have a championship crowned. We are going into overtime. This is our first attempt of 3 if needed. Overtime is a green, white, checkered, meaning we are going to be going, when we go green, it is 2 to go. If we get the 1 to go and that white flag comes out, the race will become official, and the next flag will be the checkered flag. But if that first lap, we get a yellow flag, we will then reset it, go into our second attempt. That similar thing in our second attempt. The yellow flag comes out on that first lap. We will go into attempt number 3. If we go into attempt number 3, the rules are a little bit different. We'll see if we need to get there for ourselves. But Trevor, this could be our final restart of the season. What are you feeling like we're going to see?
Pandemonium, chaos, aggressiveness. I mean, any and all the above is what we're going to see here. And Sam, I didn't even realize it. Rob Sherwood out of tires.
Yeah,
the 2 machine last minute on lap 88, so he's on old tires. So for Ross Tatum, he's got old tires in front of him, 2 tires at the outside line. This restart is going to be wild, and we're getting ready for it.
Pace car about to pull off. It's time for us to have our potentially final restart of the season. It's overtime attempt number 1 for the Full Send Racing Series Championship, presented by that of Berserker Industries. We're great, a great restart by the 2 machine. Here comes Ross Tatum, gonna be following behind, and the 2-tire taking by Chris Stitz backfires completely.
Did not get the restart he needed, and Sherwood's gonna have nothing to hold off the 11 of Ross Tatum, and now Stitz is going to have to clear the 2 machine to have any shot at the 11. Sarton boxed in behind Sherwood and that of the 36 of Bustler. Nowhere for the 24 machine to go. Gives the tap to the 2 of Sherwood. Sherwood saves it up the track, but Ross Tatum going to come across the line. White flag is out.
We are going to only have 1 attempt at overtime. It's your freaky fast white flag. Ross Tatum, Chris Stitz, 2 tires against 4 into turn number 1. The 11 hoping to get the championship done for himself. The 2 rookies that came into this season. Ross Tatum, he found himself with the wins. He was the driver that challenged and had all the hopes and dreams. Chris Stitz, he was the driver with so many chances, so many what ifs, and the what ifs continue to grow because Ross Tatum will hold on. The champion of season 3 for the Full Send Racing Series goes to the 11 of Ross Tatum.
And Stitz gave it everything he could out of turn number 4, got loose, able to hold on for second place. 2-tire call almost worked there for Chris Stitz, just didn't get the restart he wanted. Ross Tatum breathing a sigh of relief after the hard-fought battle with the lap car of Nick Holland. The late race caution, the 11 survives, and the rookie gets his first championship here in the Full Send Racing Series.
I mean, he certainly looked like a strong contender, and talking to him before the race, Ross Tatum said he wasn't sure what he was going to get tonight. He didn't practice as much as he was hoping for. He felt like it was between Cameron Sarton, Cole Sacchetti, and the 11 machine. He wasn't sure what Chris Stitz was going to bring, and Stitz was there. Just, it seemed like a couple of bad calls by the 22. He tried his best, but the 11 at the end of the day, even with an intentional wreck that put us into overtime, he finds himself in a victory lane, and the 11 gets to burn it down here tonight at Las Vegas. Championship goes to the 11. And Trevor, we're going to step aside when we come back. It's the post-race show. We'll discuss how this race went down. We'll talk to our top three. We'll say goodbye to 2022 as this was our last broadcast of the year. And get ready, our last post-race of the year about to come in a few moments. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show, the final one of the year here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for 2022. We got the top three of the Full Send Racing drivers here tonight after the Las Vegas Championship race. We're going to start things off with a two-time champion, fall shy here tonight for his third championship, Cameron Sarton in the 24 machine. We got the Mickey Mouse machine with us. Cameron, congratulations on a top three finish with how that night was going, but man, how are you feeling after tonight's run?
Yeah, disappointed, but in all, it was a good night. Just a little short. Just things didn't really go my way track position wise, and I think at the end there, I thought maybe I could have got the Ross there at the end. I was catching him a little faster than I thought, and if I didn't slide my box a little bit on pit road that last green flag run, here's say no caution with 4 to go, I think I would have been within probably half a second of him those final 5 laps and had a chance, but nowhere to go on the restart. But Oh well. Well, it sucks, but that's okay. So good season overall, and congrats to Ross.
I mean, Cameron, just walk us through the mindset. You slide through the box on the green flag pit stop. I mean, walk us through that mindset, and then walk us through your thought process there on the green white checker and what you were going to try to do to get up there and battle with Ross and Chris.
Yeah, so I lost a ton of track position off that restart from the stage, and was trying to just save at that point. I knew there's no point of battling for 6th, 7th, 8th right then. So kind of saved a lot and was flying. Those last part got stuck kind of behind Travis and Bustler there for like 5 laps, which hurt. But at the end, I was catching Ross and got him down to about 6/10 and tried to make up ground on pit road and did. I mean, I was right behind his bumper and just overshot it just a little bit, which probably cost me those 8/10 to a second. So it wasn't a long time, but as y'all know, it's just enough to cause a mishap and not ruin your night, but make that a little bit of a difference. But yeah, the green white checkered. I was hoping Stitz would get to Sherwood's outside there. That was kind of the only chance I had there in 4th. It's just 2nd is such a disadvantage with the restart zone. No matter what old tires you're on, and then I just got stuck behind Robert there on the outside. Didn't want to send him flying and dump him into 3 and wreck the entire field, but kind of wanted to because that was the only kind of shot I had at a championship. But yeah, a little short, kind of nowhere to go. But overall, gave it a run. At least I had a shot at it. So come back next year and swing for number 3.
I mean, Cameron, coming in tonight, we knew that you were going to be one of the drivers to watch out for because you are the 2-time champ. But for this season, what can you take away from it before you go head off into the off season?
Yeah, pretty solid overall. Really no complaints whatsoever. Mile and a half has kind of been my not downfall, but just haven't been 1st, 2nd, 3rd fastest when it comes to these types of races. Just kind of felt like I've been 4th to 8th, kind of in that pack. So felt like I was top 3 tonight, which is a little surprise to myself. I feel like I'm kind of the guy to be when it comes to road courses and on stock cars. And short tracks, I'm always kind of up there in the top 3. So kind of room to improve on there. But, with 3 wins, make it to the Final 4, a team championship again with Cole and Hack Racing, overall it was pretty good success. So 2 spots short, basically 2 car lengths, but overall another good year. It stings to finish 3rd or 10, just basically 2nd. So oh well.
Well, Cameron, it's still an incredible season for yourself. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to the mom, dad, grandparents watching, Cole, and the Hack Racing team. So another team championship there. So with Charles as well. He couldn't make it tonight, but a little shout out to him if he's watching. But you guys up in the booth, another fantastic season. Always good to watch the races before I go to bed, just to kind of see y'all's excitement in certain situations. So probably have to go back and watch this one. I'm sure is exciting. Lab Traffic Podcast, their sponsorship, list goes on and on. Travis run a fantastic league, a lot of fun, great group of guys. So look forward to adding a few more going to the trucks next year, and hopefully see y'all back and get right off a few more wins, and hopefully talk to you 2 people later next year at this time.
We hope so too. That is going to be 3rd place finisher of the night, Cameron Sarton in the 24 machine. Congratulations on a top 3 finish, and good luck next season in the trucks.
Thanks, guys. See y'all soon.
As we go from 3rd place, we head to 2nd place, where we talked to the driver that was up front and thought for a second he was the driver to watch out for, dominated the first half. We got that of Chris Stitz with us. Chris, it's Sam and Trevor up in the booth. Congratulations on 2nd, but I know this one stings a little bit, being just 1 position off of that championship. But man, how are you feeling after tonight's performance?
I'm feeling pretty good, honestly. It was a really good race from start to finish. That yellow there at the end gave us a lot to work with, and I was able to do some other stuff, but feeling confident. It was a great race, and I stayed up front the entire time, and I kept working. A little disappointing, but it's always going to come with a second place finish.
I mean, Chris, walk us through your pit strategy there, because we were interested when you did it. I mean, you pitted about 4 or 5 laps earlier than that of Cameron, Sacchetti, and Ross there. I mean, were you going for the undercut, or did you kind of expect them to follow you down pit road once you decided to make that move?
I did kind of expect them to follow me about a lap or two later, and I could just pull out and kind of save and have that edge. But unfortunately, they stayed out a little bit and ended up working out in their benefit and caught me fairly quickly. But I had the plan from the start. I was going to split it if it went green, and that's what I did, and I have no regrets on it.
Well, Chris, still an incredible rebound. I mean, we look back to how this season started. I know you had fast runs at almost every track you went to. Just the inconsistency of those finishes weren't there. But man, how do you feel with the way that you finished out this season compared to how you started it out?
Feeling really good. I did have a tough start to the season, but I felt more once I got more comfortable with these cars, I just felt myself progressing and progressing, and I'm only going to be able to build on it next season. Going back to the trucks, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I did really well in them last season, so take what I learned here, and I'm going to apply it for next season.
Well, Chris, congratulations on second place and a great end to the second half of the season. Before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Thank you, guys. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Frostfire and Lake Anna. My dad watching at home, this league, and everybody that runs in it. I love running with these guys week in, week out. I wish the season was longer, to be honest, but you got to take a break sometimes. And of course, you guys in the booth. You guys always put on amazing races. Can't wait to go back and watch this one and see it all play out. And of course, got to thank my teammates. They're always a big help, especially getting these situations when I'm in the championship. Their main focus is me, and that's the best you can ask for in teammates.
Well, that is going to be the 22 machine of Chris Stitz finishing second. Congratulations, Chris, on second place here tonight, and good luck next season in the trucks.
Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you later.
As we now head from second place to victory lane, and also what you could call the trophy celebration, as Ross Tatum is your what an incredible season it's been. But now you could crown that of the Full Send Racing Series champion of the season. Congratulations, Ross, on the win and the championship here this evening. Man, how are you feeling in that 11 machine?
Thanks, guys. I feel pretty good. I was feeling good with 15 to go, then not so good, and then feeling good again now. So, yeah, just awesome season by everybody. A lot of fun. That was definitely a stressful couple minutes there at the end of the race, but just what a fun time.
Ross, your emotions. I mean, those last 15 laps, you get around Stitz on the older tires, and then the lap traffic, the battling with Nick Holland. I mean, you guys beating and banging off each other. Then the late race caution. I mean, what is going through your head? You had it in the bag. I mean, what's going through your mind as you're battling with Holland, and then you see the caution come out?
Well, I was thinking that I was really kind of worried about Cam because Cam was putting down some really good times. He had cut the distance between me and him about 1.5 seconds there in about 5 laps. So I was getting concerned about him. And then Holland was just being a pest, but I was just trying to keep calm. And eventually I was just like, hey, man, what are you doing? But yeah, it was stressful, but it's just part of it. I realize everybody wants their teammates to win. I know Will raced Cole pretty hard there too, so I can't say nothing about teammates doing stuff for others, but it's just part of the game. That's just part of the thing of the one race playoff. Makes it stressful, but it also makes it fun, makes it interesting for people watching. So I guess I can't complain.
I mean, Ross, you came in here into this season as a rookie, not really sure what you're going to get yourself into. How can you take this season as a whole, knowing that you won the championship at the end of the day, but the way that you performed throughout the season, how are you going to take this season for yourself?
It feels good. Mostly just because I'm really not very good in the Xfinity cars. I don't even think I have an official win in the Xfinity cars on iRacing, so that feels good. And then I'm really looking forward to next season because we're going to the trucks, so it should be a little bit better for me. But the trucks are also very competitive. Everyone's really good at the trucks. Um, but I guess the main takeaway is just how much fun this season was. It was just a lot of great driving. First part of the season was a little rough with cautions and stuff, but the second half of the season, man, with 18 to 20 people showing up every week, we put on some really good races, had a lot of fun, and I look forward to every Tuesday night race that we ran. So that's a good thing.
Well, Ross, congratulations again on how this season went. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Thanks, guys. Always got to thank Coca-Cola for paying my bills. Wouldn't have internet if it wasn't for Coca-Cola, so thanks to them. I got to thank Will Bustler. He paints the best paint schemes on iRacing, and before he puts them behind a paywall, people should hit him up and ask for paint schemes because he's good enough to charge people for them, but he doesn't. Got to thank my teammates. Chris Wade forgot to do the update tonight, so he wasn't able to make it, and Will Bustler, of course. And our new teammate next season, Jonathan Woods, because we're going to bring the same team back with one new guy. So that'll be fun. And obviously, I got to thank you guys at Freaky Fast. You guys are the absolute best. I don't even want to run other leagues unless you guys are broadcasting because it's just so much fun to go back and watch. It's so realistic. I wish everyone would reach out to you guys. You are by far the best. And everyone at the league at Full Send, Travis and John, all these guys, man, they've put on a great league. They've gotten a lot of competition over here, and I can't wait till next season. It's going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned, and hopefully we'll get some more wins next season.
Well, that was Ross Tatum and the number 11 machine. The Sprite machine can spray and have some fun, as you are the Season 3 Full Send Racing Series champion. Congratulations, Ross, and good luck next season trying to defend this one.
Thanks, guys.
As we go from victory lane, let's check out and see the unofficial results of the night. I mean, Trevor, a little bit of unknown there late. We knew a caution was possible, not the way that we wanted it to come out, but certainly the fireworks came out with the way this one ended, with Ross Tatum getting the win. Chris Ditz gets second. Cameron Sarton gets third. Aaron Hill's going to get fourth. Cole Sacchetti gets fifth. Then you've got Travis Dart, going to be in sixth. Ken Campbell, 7th. Will Bustler's going to get 8th with Philip Chavez, 9th. 10th goes to Ryan Lynch. But, I mean, Trevor, what a season and a championship for all of them instead of the top 5.
I mean, what a great season these guys put on the whole season every week. I mean, the drama, the intensity, it never ceased to amaze us up here in the booth throughout the season. And the late race drama again here tonight for the championship. It looked like Tatum was going to have it in the bag, then gets to battling with Nick Holland. Cameron Sarton closing in on him with 5 to go. Then the green-white checkered. Chris Ditz taking 2 tires, couldn't get the good restart he wanted. Sarton getting held up on the outside line. Sacchetti just nowhere to go for himself either. And Ross Tatum holds on, gets himself his first championship. The rookie coming away with it. And then we get to switch it up going into next season. Sam, we thought the excitement was at a peak here, but next season going to the trucks, different car, more drivers, new drivers. I can't wait till we get to the next season already.
I mean, if you've watched us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting this year, we covered trucks for the ISRC Truck Series on Monday nights, and those drivers put on spectacular shows. I'm expecting similar things here when the new season begins for that of the Full Send Racing Series. Trucks are going to be fun and a blast to watch. But before we call this broadcast done, we do have one more shout out, and that's for ourselves. If you're looking for a gift for that of Christmas right before this year is over, Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we've got ourselves some merch for you to go grab. We got that t-shirts, we got hoodies. The winter season is here. It's been cold, so go bundle up with some Freaky Fast Broadcasting merch. We got plenty of sizes and colors for you to make your decisions. Thank you for everyone that has participated in watching our broadcast throughout this year. I mean, Trevor, thank you for joining us up at the booth this year and being able to give you all the coverage on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Trevor, before we're done with tonight, the final calls are for you.
Man, I gotta give a big shout out to you and Robert for allowing me to come take part in this. Not only here for Full Send on Tuesday nights, but for that of WSSR on Saturday nights. You guys took a shot at me, stepped in for one race, and Y'all saw enough in that one race to believe in me and brought me up here, and it's been a fun ride, a wild ride at times with you guys, and big shout out to y'all for that. Shout out to everybody who watches every week on Freaky Fest for all the races that we do, and all the leagues that allow Freaky Fest to broadcast for them and put on great shows. And looking forward to 2023 and more fun and excitement.
And not wait for it. For us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for watching. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Trevor Earhart, for that of Brian Johnson, as well as Carl Pooler and Robert Moyer Jr., everyone at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and everyone that's helped us throughout the year. Thank you so much for watching 2022. 2023, right around the corner, and we will be back. Crazy to think. We will be giving you more coverage in the second week of January, but until then, thank you for watching. Congratulations to the 11 machine Ross Tatum. For us at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we are going to have some content being posted out the next episode of the long run, given the behind the scenes of that of the ISRC Truck Series, episode 4, coming out some point this week. We are so happy with the way that series has been coming out. Go watch episode 1, 2, 3, and episode 4 might be one of the most controversial and spiciest episodes just yet, and we can't wait for it. But for this year, thank you for watching. We'll see you in 2023.